Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to be learning how to make oatmeal, and we're going to be going over the porridge method for pretty much soaking and preparing grains. So what that means, inside soaking and preparing grains, there's two different methods to use. There's either the porridge method or there's the casserole method. So the porridge method is used with grains like oats or kamut or spelt or corn grits, anything like that. And then the casserole method is used more with rice, quinoa, and other grains like that. So this one cooks up really quick when we cook it, and then the casserole method, it takes longer for it to cook, 45 minutes to an hour. This one takes about 5 minutes to cook. So just a different method to making it. So without further ado, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna show you how to put it together. I'm gonna show you how to cook it. And I'll be also walking you through why this is important throughout the video. So we're gonna get started now. So here we go. So the method for the porridge method is very similar to the casserole method. All right. The only difference is that inside the casserole method, we're going to be using the ratios 1 to 2 when we do this. So it's going to be 1 cup of grain, and it's going to be 2 cups of water, and then it's going to be 2 tablespoons of a neutralizer. Which, when I mean neutralizer, I mean like an acidic base. So we got buttermilk, we got whey, kefir, yogurt. You can even use apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. Something that helps to build to, as the word says, neutralize or get rid of phytic acid, which is what is surrounding our grain, oats, rice, whatever it may be. It's surrounding it, and what that phytic acid does is it actually inhibits us from being able to get all the nutrients out of our food. It stops it, it binds the nutrients together, and it stops it from being actually pulled into the body and used. So that's why a lot of us can be mineral deficient in certain things, and or we can start having problems because we're not getting all the nutrients that we need from the food that we're eating. So this is very important for that point, because we are eating a lot of grains that are not prepared and soaked correctly, or soaked, sprouted, fermented, whatever it may be, correctly. And so therefore, by eating a lot of it, it's causing a lot of trouble for our guts, for our intestines, and for our health. That's where a lot of people get celiac disease. That's where a lot of people get leaky gut and everything like that. That's where a lot of people get intestinal problems. It's because of not preparing these grains, these whole grains, correctly. Even though a lot of people see them as whole grains are healthy, they are healthy, but they need to be prepped in order to really be healthy. You know what I mean? So this is one of the very big important steps about soaking your grains, or anything with your grains. But soaking your grains ends up being the most common one to use and the easiest one for people to be able to apply. And so this is going to go into why it's so important. It really, really is. All right. So back to us showing you how to do this. So remember, ratio is 1 to 2. All right. So we're going to do. So we do for the rice. It's we're going to put this all together for rice. It's 1 cup water. So 1 cup rice, 2 cups water, and then 2 tablespoons of the neutralizer. But for the porridge method, what we're going to do is we're still going to use that ratio. We're going to still use the 1 to 2 ratio, except for we don't add in all of the water right at the beginning. Instead, what we do is we do 1 cup of whatever we're going to use, so oats, and then 1 cup of water, actually, because we're going to reserve another cup of water for when we cook, and then the 2 tablespoons of our neutralizer, so yogurt, kefir, whey, there you go, buttermilk, whatever it might be. Right? So right here I've got one that's already prepared, and so as you can see, it's very sludgy. It's like very put together, very spongy, and that's because it's only got 1 cup of water. And if there was 2 cups of water, it would be like up to here, and it wouldn't be like this. Not at all. It would be much different. So so that's what it's going to look like. That's what we want it to look like. Okay, so when you do it yourself, don't be scared when it does look like this. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start assembling this real quick. So we have our container. Alright, so we are going to take 1 cup of oats. And then we're gonna pour in the water. Now, a little thing on the water is that if you can't, that the recommended is to be able to actually add warm water into your oats. So the reasoning behind that is, if you think about a grain of any sorts, right? They are hard. They are just sitting there, hard. They're in a dormant state, all cuddled up like this. They don't want to let anything out, all right? So if we add cold water to this, they're just gonna suction up just like this, like you would. So the best example I like to make is, let's say someone took you and they put you inside an ice bath. What would you do? Ooh, this is very cold, right? But if someone took you and they put you inside a nice, not like overly hot, but a good warm hot temperature inside of the bath, you kind of be, oh yeah, let's stretch that out, open up. So that's the exact same thing that's going to be happening with our oats, is that they're in this dormant state, all closed up, and we need to add something to help them to open up, to be able to, once again, shed that phytic acid, and to be able to open themselves up so that we can get the nutrients out of them. And so that was one of the biggest things of why we want to be able to add some kind of warm water. Another one as well, when we're doing the soaking with the acid and everything, it also helps in the process of pre-digestion. Warmth helps to be able to pre-digest. Cold, not so much. It's just like with any ferment. Okay? Ferments do better when it's a warmer temperature, and then cold, not too cold, they're dormant and they kind of take much longer to go. Okay? So I already measured out 1 cup, so I've got 1 cup here inside my saucepan, and it is warm. I just warmed it up. So you just want to look for that it's warm to the touch. Okay, you can keep your finger in there, it's not going to burn you or scald you, whatever it might be, okay? So we're just going to pour it in. Boom. Okay, so there we go. Looks just like that. It's looking nice. And then now we're going to go add in our neutralizer. So I have some homemade buttermilk that I'm going to use for mine. Once again, you can use whatever you have on hand. The yogurt, the whey, the kefir. If you have buttermilk, which you can't get at the store, then definitely use that. So we'll go 1 and 2. Perfect. Alright. So what I like to do is I'll put the cap on, and you can either put something in there and stir it, or what I like to do is I'll just go ahead and mix it like this, and then I'll give it a nice little 2 turns to get it all mixed together. And now you can see that it's all kind of white filmy because of the buttermilk all around. So it goes to show me that everything did get set up, and it's looking nice and good. It's warm right there, not hot, but just warm. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So we'll then take this, and we're going to let it sit on our counter from 12 to 24 hours in order for it to be able to soak and for the acid to be able to do its job of starting to break down the phytic acid around our grains, and also start pre-digesting the grain for us, so that it'll be much easier for us to be able to, number 1, get the nutrients out of it, number 2, digest our food, so that we don't have any problems with the grain. Alright, perfect. Alright, now we are going to go ahead and jump over to actually making the grain, the oatmeal, or the porridge. There we go. Alright, so once again, we are going to need 1 cup of water. This is our extra cup that we're at, our last cup that we're adding. Alright, so I'm going to pour in 1 cup. I'm going to make sure I got that right. Bingo! Alright, so take our 1 cup, and we're going to put it inside our pan. Alright, and then we're going to turn it up, and what we're trying to get it up to is to a boil. Alright? So we're getting it up to a boil because we want it to be really hot when we throw in our grains, because when making porridge, as you guys have seen before, this is kind of the same method. When making porridge, it must be hot because it's almost like an instant cook when we throw it in at that temperature, and that's what helps it to be able to cook up so quickly. You can try it the other way. People have tried the other way of cooking it slower when it's not warm, like really hot like this, and they say that it takes forever, a long time to actually get it to the consistency. There's something about having that heat already there, so that when you pour it in, it just instantly, boom, really helps cook up. And then as you continue to stir it, it cooks in under 5 minutes. It's amazing. Love it. Alright, so we're going to wait for this thing to go ahead and heat up, and then we will boil, and then we're going to throw our oatmeal in, and you will see the magic happen. Alright guys, so our water now has come up to a boil. We got some nice steam coming off of it, it's bubbling, so now it's time for us to be able to throw inside our oats. Alright, so we're going to grab our container of oats, and then I like to grab just a wooden spoon, or you can even use, if you like, one of those scraper spatulas. That works too. Wooden spoons are awesome, because we're going to dump this in here, and I'm going to mix it up, and then I'm going to let it come up to a boil, and then we're going to continue mixing. So let's go and just see that in action. So we just dump it in, so it's boiling, you got the bubbles on top, so you're just going to straight up just dump it inside that water. There we go. And then I'm going to kind of mix it in now real quick while it's still hot. There we go. Alright. Alright, now it's all mixed. What we're going to do is we're going to wait for it to be able to come up to a boil again. And once it comes up to a boil, we are then going to go ahead and turn this down to low, because I have it on 8 right now. And so mine goes from 1 to 9 on my stove, the temperatures. So I'm going to turn it down to 1, to a lower temperature, and then I'm going to start to stir it to be able to get it to start to mix. Alright? So you can either sort of stir it, or you can even get your top to your pan. You can put the top on, you can just let it cook for the 3 to 5 minutes that it'll take. The stirred method is kind of nice though, because then you don't have the chance of it actually burning on you. So you can watch it and stir it and make sure that it's going to come out right. I have burnt oatmeal, so I can say that. So that's just a recommendation for you. That's actually how my teacher Monica Corrado taught me, is she was actually just stirring it. She actually put the top on. You didn't have to at all. That's the same thing that I do with grits and other things like that. It makes it very easy to be able to make sure that you get a really good product out of it. Alright? So here we go, it's coming up now, starting to boil. So now it's ready to go, it's boiling all over, so now I'm going to turn this down to our 1 over here. And we're going to stir that together here. Alright, so yeah, there we go. We're all done. We got our oatmeal. See that? Woo! Okay, so now that our oatmeal is all done, we're going to serve it up. And so this is just an important little piece for you to be able to know about how to serve up your oatmeal. Alright? So when you're serving up your oatmeal, when you're serving up any kind of grains, what we want to pair it with is a lot of good fats. So what are good fats? So good fats end up being grass-fed butter. It then ends up being like coconut oil is also a good fat, but there's also tallow, there's lard, there's ghee. So good fats like that to be able to put in here. Now tallow and lard, will you actually put in here? Probably not. Most people are not the biggest fans of that. But putting butter, which is my #1 recommendation, butter or ghee that are grass-fed, from grass-fed cows, that is my #1 recommendation. So reason behind that is that grains, as we eat them and they start to break down inside of our body, they do turn into glucose or sugar very quickly. Their carbohydrates change. And what happens with that is it actually releases the sugars into our bloodstream, and that's what spikes our blood sugar for us. That's where a lot of us get a lot of our struggles. That's when we eat grains and we crash like an hour or 2 later. So it's not very fun. But when we have the fat there, the nice thing is that fats actually get broken down at a slower rate than grains do. And so if we have fats accompanied with our grains, what ends up doing is helps to be able to coat the grains, and as the fat gets broken down, then little parts of the grain gets broken down little by little until the fat's gone and then the grain's gone. And so that means that the grain is going to be dispersed, its glucose and sugar is going to be dispersed much slower to the body. It's going to be digested much slower, and so therefore the sugars are going to get dispersed at a slower rate. So therefore that's going to stop, number one, blood sugar spike. Number two, are that crash that we have. It's going to carry us through longer throughout the day. It's also going to keep us more full. Having the fat inside of our diet is going to keep us full and more satiated throughout the day. Alright, now last thing is that grass-fed butter actually does help to be able to get rid of more phytic acid. And so that's another very important thing for us to know, because if we can remove as much phytic acid as we can, the better. So we do it by the soaking, and then we do it by the cooking, which helps, and then we do it by the butter. Right? It all works together. So make sure to be able to add a nice glob of grass-fed butter to your oatmeal in the morning. So I can even give you an example if you'd like. I'm making this up for myself for the morning time. I've got a nice little thing of poultice right there. And I'm going to add a nice glob. So I usually add, for myself personally, as I am not afraid of the fats, a nice little glob like this. This is about a tablespoon and a half. I'm going to put in there. Just like that. And then you'll mix it in. You can add your salt and any other seasonings you like. If you like a little maple syrup, little raisins, whatever it may be, enjoy it. But definitely make sure you're able to add good fats to pair with your grains. And that's with any grains. Not just here with the oatmeal, but with your rice and such too. Alright guys, you guys go and make some up, add your fats, and enjoy.